that. Welcome inside this edition of Big Ten Today. I'm your host, Rick Pizzo. I'm excited to take you to Ann Arbor as we hear from Sharon Moore, not just about the quarterback competition ongoing between leaders in the clubhouse, Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood, but also when he expects to actually name a starting quarterback for the Wolverines. But we begin, as we often do, with the big story and the lofty preseason perch Illinois finds itself sitting upon. Bret Bielema's team ranked number 12 in both major polls to start the year, the program's highest such ranking since 1990. I had the chance to discuss that and more with the Illini headman after a visit to training camp on Wednesday.
I like our group. They have their moments. You know, we had probably a practice today. I would say 95% of it was really good, but there was two small moments where we need to have a correctable moment. And I said, hey, that's the game of football, right? We can play a game. 95% of the plays are great, and then we take a 2 or 3 plays and don't do well, and our opponent is going to find that, right? So I appreciate what everybody has said, and I know we've gotten some preseason anticipation that we've never had, but I think it's just because it's so new to Illinois, right? After the legend of Howard Griffith left, like we really haven't done a lot to be here. So we have this room, our team meeting room, right? And the guys that left this room last year, they can brag and talk about last year. It was their last year. But these guys, for them to leave their legacy, they got to make it mark this year.
Do you get the sense that these guys are still hungry to do that?
I do. I think there's been a lot of carryover from our 23 season. A lot of guys that were young players but good players in that year that remember back to that time and what happened. It was a team that fell short of what we had hoped was going to be something special, a 5-win team that fell short of a bowl expectation on the last play against Northwestern at the end of the year. So a lot of growth since that time, but I think this group wants to make 2025 something special for them.
Bret, back on the field, obviously there's so many veterans on this team, but it starts with the quarterback. And Luke seems to be not just in a really good physical spot, he seems to be in a really good mental headspace.
Yeah, it's fun to be around Luke so many different ways. First, he's a unbelievable kid of high character, you know, very Christian faith driven, and in a way that he promotes it, but he doesn't push it, right? And I think he talked to our guys at the beginning of the year about just having some faith in what you believe in. He didn't try to force any thoughts, just you got to have a faith in what you do and what you believe in. And that shows up him in every day. He's a very intentional in what he does, intentional in his relationships, intentional in his delivery, intentional in his progress. And what I love to see is I love to see kids that work really hard and get the rewards of it. And hopefully this year it's going to be an even bigger step in the right direction.
I know every year that you've had success, whether it be here or previous stops, you've had a good and experienced offensive line. Simply between the two Joshes, you have 46 career starts, those two guys, and then others who have seen time as well. How good can this O-line be, and how important to your success will their success be?
You know what? Unlike any other position, like you can have a great quarterback wide receiver combo, you know, a great tight end and maybe a run play action game on defense, a good secondary that's backed up by a good defensive line. But there is no other group that needs 5 guys that work together more than the offensive line, right? And it's just, you have a left tackle who now has been a career starter in college football for 4 years. Our left guard, Josh Geske, started for 3 years. J.C. Davis is my left tackle who started at New Mexico and here. Josh Kreutz is a 3-year starter at center, and he's probably been playing like a starting center since he was born with Olin in the house. So our right guard, Brendan Henderson, has played a lot of snaps and got a couple backups behind him. And then a right tackle, Melvin Priestley, is going into a second-year starting here, but he started at Grambling. So the value of that experience, and now they're all playing together. Behind that, an experienced signal caller, 3 good running backs, 4 or 5 good tight ends, and a group of 5 to 6 wideouts. That's what leads to hopefully something good.
Defensively, if I work from the back forward, you have a really experienced and talented secondary. I think back to a couple of years ago when the defense was lights out and Devin Witherspoon, a top 5 pick, Quan Martin was doing really good things back there as well. What does that allow you, and more to the point, DC Aaron Henry, to do?
Yeah, great point. A lot of people don't realize this, but when you're calling a game, a lot of what you can do up front is driven by what you can do in the back end. And the experience that we have back there, Miles Scott, Matt Bailey as safeties. Now we got a guy, Mac Rasitic, who's probably a starter in most programs. It's a guy who can start for us in multiple ways. A couple other guys in the safety room, but also at corner. Obviously, Xavier Scott is, in my opinion, one of the best players in our conference. Can play corner, can play star. You got guys now, Caleb Patterson, you got Juice, you got Torrey Cox. You got a lot of guys with veteran experience. And I think that allows us up front to let some guys hunt, right? And Gabe Butkus, I literally took him to Big Ten Media Days as a junior because I didn't think I was going to get him back. And he came back for his senior year and is driven more than ever. He looks great. He's leaned up. He's playing with an incredible attitude. The outside backer room between Gabe, Alec Bryant, Daniel Brown, Leon Lowry. You got some other guys now factoring into that. Dylan Rosiak, a mainstay, James Kreutz, and Malachi Hood on the inside. And then some guys up front. We added James Thompson, came from Wisconsin, who's been really pretty impressive in fall camp. Kurt Neal inside, and a couple others. Pat Farrell, who's done a good job for us. Didi. There's a host of characters looking to make their name.
Gabe doesn't just play the part. Man, he looks the part. Yogi Roth was blown away. He said, guys that size or that strong are not supposed to have six-packs coming off the edge. He's been impressive since he got here. You know, he's a guy was totally under-recruited out of high school. When we got him, he was, I believe, committed to Tulane. I have a good friend, it sounds like a joke, named Jack Daniels, is a high school coach down in Florida, and he called me, and he was at a game, and he's like, hey, you might want to look at this kid, Gabe Yakas, and we immediately went down there, went to a school, brought him in, and I knew in the first 10 days I had an NFL player. And he's just continued to grow, develop, put himself in a position. He has some good players all around him, which will free him up even more. But, yeah, you know, Gabe's got a little bit of a sweet tooth, and I think he cut those sweets out last spring, and he looks when I came back after our little break in July and saw him walk through the door, I mean, he's focused on all the right things and really fun to watch. All right, Bret, quickly, let's get you out of here on this. What do you still need to and want to accomplish before opening night? Yeah, I think between now and that opening moment against Western Illinois, we got to clean up the details. I think offensively, we got to become really efficient on our early downs, maximize our third downs. Situational football, we got to be better than our opponent. I don't care who we're playing, Western Illinois at the beginning of the year, Ohio State right in the middle of the year in Game 7, and at the end of the year is Northwestern. We got to be great at situational football, and then defensively, I think we got to be opportunistic. We got to take advantage of the moments they give you, catch the ones they throw you, do different things defensively that makes us be great in those moments. And I think we got a kicking game. We got to continue to fine-tune it, but David Alano, our kicker, is probably as good as I've ever had. I'm really excited about Crimmins, our new transfer and punter from Purdue, who I'm glad he's punting for us, not against us. So really excited to see this crew grow. Bret, we appreciate the time. Always appreciate how well you guys take care of us. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Illinois is coming off a rare 10-win season, yet it's not the recent past, but the immediate future behind the expectations heaped upon the Illini as a league-high 75% of its 2024 production returns. That is our next stop, as I had the chance to talk all things Illinois football with Yogi Roth and Howard Griffith after a Wednesday trip to Memorial Stadium. What a treat to watch Illinois training camp. A veteran squad, and that's exactly what we saw. You could see all the experience on the field. Howard Griffith, Yogi Roth were there to watch it as well. Howard, what stood out?
Really just that this is a veteran team, and when you talk about position groups, for me, it was the offensive line. Probably as big as a physical group we've seen under Bret Bielema here, and I think they'll be able to take some advantages of defenses with the size and the athleticism they have up front.
There was a lot of fun things that we saw, but none more than being around the place that you built, man. I mean, to walk around here and just tail you was amazing. We had people in the stands during practice screaming his name.
Pretty nice, too. People are trying to give you food and gifts.
Say, Big Art was up in like the 50th row screaming, hey. So that was a blast. And hey,
you gotta go,
you did it, man. You did it, right? You proved it here. I'd say a couple of things. Coach Bielema was gracious enough to allow us into a team meeting room. Got to spend some time with him, got to spend some time around the staff, watch the players. I just love the whole operation. I mean, it just feels like this is a team that is connected to their reality. It doesn't feel too big. It doesn't feel tight because of the expectations. It feels as though they got a big chip on their shoulder, and they're going to go cut it loose and let it rip. And then you watch them practice, and they look like a professional organization. Guys weren't on the ground. Guys weren't chirping at each other. I mean, it was really detailed. You listen to how the coaches coach and how the players receive the coaching. I mean, that stood out to me more than anything. Yes, they're talented. You're right. They're going to be talented on offense. The new defensive tackles, the 3 transfers, they're going to be dynamic, I think, for this front. The coaching, the acumen is off the charts. But overall, it just feels like they belong with how people are perceiving them.
Yogi, I know you always pay a little bit of extra attention to the guy under center taking snaps, and you had a chance to talk with Luke Altmyer after practice as well.
I think there's a couple truths at quarterback. Number one is you have to have scars. You have to have scars. You have to go through things. He did that. He's a transfer. When he had a big start here in his first year, he struggled against Penn State. He talked about how that has fueled him and how he's found tools to navigate that. And in the season with so many expectations, none bigger than their own, right? Barry Lonnie shared that with us earlier today. I think that he's a young man that's just going to be able to handle the environments. You watch him play. He's accurate, he's precise, he's getting them in and out of the right plays. And then I just go to the situational football. And that's where we kind of nerded out in our conversation of Bret Bielema. He's obsessive around the tiny little situations. Quarterback, he's the same exact way. He said that's a lot of their conversations now, and that's going to be this team. They're going to be in one-score games again this year with him at quarterback, with the discernment, with his football IQ, with the situations that they practice. I think they're in a really good position when things get tight late.
Yeah, I think when you talk about situational football, this is one of the places that does a tremendous job of putting their teams through it. Really, they stop, they slow down practice. Here's what we're going to do. This is what we're emphasizing, understanding what we need to do coming out. And he puts them through so many different situations that they're prepared for it. Now it's just a matter of being able to execute. Now, you talk about having a veteran team. You should be able to take advantage of those opportunities because there's going to be some bad things that happen. But how quickly can you rebound that one play doesn't become two plays?
You know what was cool? At all the practices we've all seen in 20-plus years around this sport, I've never seen a coach talk about we're going to practice coming out of halftime. Energy-wise, okay, this is the first drive of the third quarter. It's easy to do sudden change or a third down or a 2-minute situation, but that as just one example is just proving that no stone is not going to be turned over when it comes to situational mastery.
But Bret Bielema has been in these situations before, right, guys? I mean, when he was at Wisconsin, you were expected to back up one outstanding season with another outstanding season. So Illinois comes off one of the best seasons in program history. And Howard, as you well know, it is as much about what's in between the ears as what's underneath the pads for these guys this year, because they have to believe in themselves and they have to believe that the expectations from the outside are lower than their own expectations.
Yeah, and one of the things that happens, and for me, I watch the way people move around. I watch body language to see just, are you too cool for this? Do you feel like you've already arrived? And I didn't get that sense being around this team for a couple days that they were just, that they're just going to sit back and relax and listen to all the outside noise. They're focused. They understand what they need to get done. And I think it all starts at the top with Bret Bielema, being able to talk to his coach and talk with his assistant coaches so they can continue to drive that down. This is a focused team. And listen, they still have to go out and play. But I think they'll be able to match some of the issues that we talk about in between the years. They'll be able to manage that, I believe. They just have to go out and prove it now.
And it seems as though they have the depth where you need it in this league on both lines. They went out and got a bunch in the transfer portal. We talked about that earlier. And then the offensive front. I mean, you look at the starting 5, 6, 7 offensive linemen, and they look like they look in Columbus, like they look in State College, like they look in Eugene. I mean, this is an outfit that's going to run the football, and that's going to benefit the play-action game. They got 3 running backs. They got 7, 8 receivers. They're competing for time. They got enough tight ends. I think this team, they're going to stay ahead of the chains the majority of the season. And then when they hit adversity, to your point, I think they're going to be able to lean on past experiences, whether it was 2 years ago, when they struggled, last year with dramatic success. I think this team's going to be able to tap into a lot of those things when things get challenging, because that's just the nature of this league. I mean, you're not going to run through it and win by 20 every game. That's just not what Big Ten football is. So I love that part of this team because they'll be able to dictate some terms with what they have up front.
I'll close with a defensive player, because, Howard, I know you had the chance to talk with Gabe Butkus. I'll make the statement right now. I think he could be the breakout player in the country on defense this year because for some reason, despite all his productivity throughout his career at Illinois, he has remained remarkably underrated.
Yeah, he has. And I think when you have an opportunity to talk to him, one of the reasons he came back was to continue to develop some of those skills. He talked about shedding weight and becoming a better football player. And I think that's part of what he has to do on the defensive side, be the leader of that defense. But he's got some other guys that are up front that are also going to challenge for who's going to be the top dog on this defensive line.
Well, we've seen a lot of talented defensive edge rushers in this league. Not many have a six-pack and are shredded like Gabe was. But I look at James Thompson, right? He's a transfer from Wisconsin, 6'6", 310. You felt him in practice all day. He addressed the team post-practice. I mean, he's a guy that I think as well in the interior defensive lineman, he'll be a breakout star as well.
I'm not trying to say Gabe Butkus is going to be a top 5 pick, but you start to think about what he can do, linebacker, edge rusher, dominant like that, speed, size. Abdul Carter does come to mind. He could be the 2025 version, and if he is, Illinois is in pretty good shape.
I think of him, Denai Dennis, Sutton, Mateo Uyunglele. I mean, he's in that conversation as some of the top edge rushers in this league.
And if anybody's wondering about all those expectations, I know coaches and players, one game at a time, one day at a time, but we like to look at schedules. And right now, preseason schedule, there's only 2 times: the road trip to Indiana to open Big Ten play, and when Ohio State comes here to Champaign, when Illinois is expected to be an underdog throughout the course of the regular season. And while Luke Altmyer is the unquestioned QB1 in Champaign, competition continues under center in Ann Arbor. Sharon Moore yet to make a call on whether highly touted freshman Bryce Underwood or veteran transfer Mikey Keene will be the man. Moore saying both guys are doing all the things necessary to make his decision extremely difficult.
Quarterbacks have been great, just much improved, playing at a really good level. We'll see where it goes and how far we'll go to that. As far as naming the quarterback, I know you guys want to know who the quarterback is. I'll tell you on game week, so before any questions come about that. Whoever the starting quarterback is to raise the level of the team, and for him, for Jaden Davis, for Jake Garcia, Mikey Keene, to make sure that they put themselves in position to make that they're the best quarterback version or best version of that they can be for Michigan football. And be leaders of the offense. Obviously, we've always talked about, the offense is led by, and the team is led by the offensive line, but your quarterback has to be the captain of that room, that offense. So, whoever that is, that's what I want him to be.
On the flip side, there is separation on the shores of Lake Michigan, where Preston Stone has reportedly taken the reins at Northwestern. David Braun saying in media days late last week that Stone has both the arm talent and leadership qualities to be the top cat. By most accounts, Stone now a near certainty to take snap number 1 against Tulane on August the 30th. But don't take my word for it. You can hear from Braun, Stone, and our experts as the Big Ten Network training camp tour has made its way to Northwestern. A full hour with the Cats debuts Thursday at 6 Eastern with multiple showings throughout the course of the evening. One final break here on Big Ten Today and one more trip to Champaign when we come back as the Illini partner with one of the school's most famous families to combat cardiovascular disease. The Carle Illinois College of Medicine has partnered with the Butkus Foundation and is now utilizing groundbreaking AI technology in a combined effort to fight cardiovascular disease. During our trip to Champaign earlier this week, I had the chance to sit down with 2 men at the forefront of this partnership. Thrilled to be joined now by Dr. Conrad, Dean of Research and Innovation at the School of Medicine here at Illinois, and Matt Butkus as well. Matt, I'd like to start with you, learning a little bit about the genesis of this partnership, why it's so important to the Butkus Foundation, to the Butkus family, how it came to be, and what you're hoping to get out of it.
Well, it all started with my dad's 5-way bypass 15 years ago that just went in for a basic exam, and 24 hours he had a 5-way bypass. So what we said as a family there is we wanted to get a scanning facility in every NFL city, and we have one named after him in Orange. And I was, during the Butkus Award, was able to bring the award back, and now on the foundation side, we're able to partner with U of I Medicine, and it's been great. So we're bringing it home, and that's what he wanted.
Dr. Conrad, an amazing amount of technology going into this partnership, so much of it now AI generated and assisted. What can you tell us about that process?
Yeah, we are lucky to have a lot of infrastructure here on campus to process large data sets, and cardiac risk scoring and screening is ultimately about managing large data sets, and we are experts in that.
So when you talk about scores and screening, there's a term, calcium score, that comes to mind when you're discussing all the research and development that you're doing here and the innovation as well. What exactly is the calcium score?
Yeah, based on a low radiation CT scan, the amount of calcium in your heart vessels, called the coronary vessels, is measured. And from that, a risk score is determined. What is your risk for sudden cardiac death, which then can be used to help you and treat you.
So what would you tell any of our viewers who are watching who may be concerned about their own cardiovascular health?
Yeah, I mean, Matt's father's story is a good example. If something like this can happen to a pro football athlete, it can happen to you. So you want to reach out to your physician to talk about cardiac risk screening.
Matt, the partnership, obviously, with not just the School of Medicine here, but with the University of Illinois and your family's history here. Can you try to describe to us exactly what that means to you and to the Butkus family?
We're really excited. Obviously, he's not here to witness it. We wish he was, but we're carrying on his legacy, and he did more, I think, off the field than on the field, which a lot of people don't know about. But it's glad to bring it home and saving lives, and it's the best.
Such an important partnership, gentlemen. We truly appreciate both of your time. Matt Butkus, Dr. Conrad, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The award, named after one of the greatest Illini of all time, will find a new home in early 2026 with the naming of this year's Butkus Award winner. And we here at the Big Ten Network are thrilled to bring you that announcement shortly after it becomes official. And that'll do it for this edition of Big Ten Today. Hope you join us on Friday. Our training camp tour will have a report from Northwestern, and Bruce Feldman of Fox Sports is with us as he reveals the 2025 Freaks list with a heavy Big Ten flavor on the best athletes in all of college football. Hope to see you then. Until then, I'm Rick Pizzo. Have a great day.